And he talks about disembodiment. So you're so preoccupied by the outer world that you've forgotten how to look inwards, and you've become so disembodied that you almost experience pain, or there's something going on in the body. And actually it's quite interesting because I've got a few students, and this stuff is really great to use with those particular students, because someone actually after class was like, oh, you know, I'm really learning that I don't have to tense all of my muscles and engage everything all the time just to do a movement. I can actually release, and actually that's quite a revelation. And you think, gosh, can you imagine just being in like every single pose, like tensing everything all the time? And she's like, I'm in so much pain all the time, but she's learning to gradually release that and relax a bit more, which is, I mean, that's incredible just from yoga that she can start to associate with that, whereas for her whole life she's just kind of not really thought to do that or to relax.
That's a lovely story, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, pain is quite a big one. I think this somatic work really helps with that, helps people.
It's just, even if you move your body deeper than muscles and bones, I think that it brings a different quality. Like, you know, when people move with the fluid body, so like learning a little bit about the lymph and how that moves, and I don't know, I think that going more in, I think at a certain point in your practice, there's a tendency to want that a little bit more, so be more curious about how you are constructed, what makes you you, and then how do you move that into a practice, and then how do you share that and get people curious, because a lot of it is embodiment, isn't it? It's getting people curious and feeling safe enough to follow that curiosity. That maybe we can talk about on a next meeting, but I think like the politics of yoga, I think the more we teach in the way that we want to teach here, I think there'll be less abuses of power, there'll be less dominance, because I think that innately when you want to teach in this way, you're encouraging people to know themselves, and that's like the bedrock, isn't it? So that when they go to a teacher and they get that instinct that something's up, and they start to get that I don't feel safe, then that's a warning, and then they can make a choice. Whereas I think sometimes the power dynamics are off is because the teacher maybe has a point of authority, and they know what they're doing, and you say exactly what as I do and don't think about it, and I know you don't need to know, but I know that you can go deeper, and I think unconsciously it turns into this sort of insidious power thing that has happened, and I think it's sort of shifting, and hopefully as more teachers want to teach the way we do, they'll just be, I think, less likely for people to fall into those horrible traps. I don't know what you guys think, if that's another topic to dive into, but I just think innately this stuff is empowering. You know, if someone goes to your classes and they've been doing more internal feeling, even when they're doing like warriors and big shapes, but they're getting to know their internal landscape, if they go to another class and the teacher, say outside of pandemic world, they do an adjustment and they get a bodily response that says, I don't feel safe, that doesn't feel good, they might be more likely inclined to say, that's no thank you. Because we're being taught how to feel, or how to relearn how to feel and to connect and be friendly. So then you take that into whatever space you're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think this type of practice, this way of teaching, is very grounding, and it's very calming to the nervous system. So I think I certainly know from practicing this way for a while and through doing the TRE, that it sort of dominoes into my everyday life. You know, like I'm calmer, and with my children I'm, you know, I'm able to listen better, I'm able to respond better, less reactive. And all of those things make me want to continue doing it, rather than sometimes before, when I used to practice in a more dynamic, you know, powerful way, which is great, but actually for me I was finding it very charging and very, like, I was coming away quite agitated sometimes. You know, this idea of heat and agitation, whereas this almost feels like it's very calming and grounding, and integrating a lot of that stuff.
Exactly.
It would be a whole new. I think it's one of those things that when you start something, it generates.
Yeah.
It's just the starting's the hard part, isn't it? Like you start something, someone hears about it, they recommend this, and then you go there, and then it all opens up for you. Hopefully everything opens up for everyone soon. All right then, lovelies. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But I really enjoyed that. You really very interesting. And I'll set another one up soon. I'll let you know. I'll probably change the times to make it easier for other people to come to. But
it was great, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your thoughts. Bye, lovely.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening.
Bye.